Greetings, everyone. We are going to do some falafel today, and we're going to make a pita dough for next week. So we're going to make it the whole thing next week. But this is the final result of what you're going to have. You're going to have hummus that we're going to learn how to make next week, fluffy and delicious. These are the falafel that we're going to make today. These falafel are baked, so they are not as pretty looking like those that are fried. And just you have to remember that even if you buy those pre-made falafel at Costco and they say just need to put it in the oven, it was fried before. So there is a lot of oil and it's fried. It's much trickier to do it without frying it. So we gave the recipe that we used to do, but we used to fry this, and it's a good recipe. But the thing is that when we tried to bake it, it was too dry and it was choking. We tried to fix it in some ways, but it's fixed, and now the falafel is very, very fluffy. It breaks, and it's really delicious, and you can make them thin like this, and you can make this on a skillet, or you can just bake them, and they are very, very nice. This is a green falafel because it has a lot of greens in it. Then the following week, we'll also make the pita. So look at this pita and tell me if this reminds you anything from the supermarket. Pita should be fluffy, should have a nice pocket. That's a pita. So and you see how nice and fluffy, thick this is. And we are going to learn how to do this better than what I think you're going to make. But first thing that we are going to do, obviously, is the falafel. We'll talk a little bit about the origin of the falafel. The falafel is from maybe the 5th century. Egypt is where people believe it all started, from the Coptic church. They had the thing that they didn't eat meat on certain holidays. So they had to come with something like a meatball that is not made of meat. So they came up with, let's say, ground lava beans and fava. Thank you, Adaf. Fava beans, and see what happened. And they did great. And this was the first falafel. Later on, in Lebanon and in Syria, this is where they did it with chickpeas. Chickpeas was used for way before that, but not for falafel. And since then, it spread. It spread because it's a cheap food to make. It fills you up a lot. It has proteins, and it's very healthy. But it has one downside, which is a big downside. Traditionally, it's fried. We don't want it fried. We want it baked. Trickier, but in my humble opinion, and Hadass, would you agree?
Yeah.
You didn't say what I said, but you know what I'm going to say, that it's better than the fried one. So imagine if you take this combination and fry it, it would be even better. So how do we start? First of all, if you have a food processor, this will be very, very helpful. If you don't have a food processor, we will wait for you while you go to Costco. It's 6, they close it. They're closed. So we won't wait for you. We're going to put, first of all,
yeah.
So I ask you to get 2 cups of chickpeas, but we are going to use half. One of the problems that we discovered is that the ratio of the chickpeas was too overwhelming, and it made it a little bit, again, when you bake it, wasn't that good. So we're going to use only 1 cup. So that is 1 cup. Those of you who have the chickpeas ready and you put it for at least 12 hours overnight, measure it approximately half. Put half of what you have of the chickpeas and just put them here like that. If you have the food processor, we put it like this. Look how nice they are. And they are still happy because they don't know what's going to happen very soon. So they are, yep. So I'm going to put it on full. Wow. Amazing invention. Now you see some of them are on the top. So I'm going to take the spatula.
The sound is maybe off. I can't hear you now, Manny.
stop for a second. As you see, they started to climb. Those on the top are not very well made. So you need to give it a little bit of this so you can put it together. And then you kvetch it for another maybe 30 seconds. Let's see what's happening. Now, the final result should be, it's supposed to be completely chopped. And if you don't put the water, obviously, because you don't use the water, you have to drain it first. This is how it's supposed to look. So if you see, it's like it crumbles. It's moist. And this is the way it's supposed to be. But don't taste it. It doesn't taste good yet. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put it here. Because we have other things to do. Okay? In the bowl. And we have the spatula. I'm trying very hard not to make a lot of mess. So everything will look cleaner and nicer. And you know,
take this out.
Yeah, we take this out. And we put this back. And we are back in business. We put this in. Now, we are going to put the things that are going to make. Now, if you bake this, you can break a window with this, I guarantee. Once it dries, it becomes like a dry chickpeas. This is not good yet. So we are going to put greens. Now, the instruction was for parsley and just parsley. So we like also cilantro, so we put also cilantro. But the idea is that you want to have, I would say two cups, but maybe, I think it's maybe more than 2 cups. I would say this amount is like between 2 to 3 ounces. 3 ounces. So this is 3 ounces of greens. The greens can be parsley, can be cilantro. I wouldn't put lettuce, of course, but usually you want things with flavor. So cilantro or parsley, whatever you want. So I'm going to put, this is the amount. You see this ratio? It's like a fistful, but more. And you see these stems, actually they are delicious. They have a lot of flavor in them. We put this. Everything we put here is very, very, very healthy. We want to add to this 1 tablespoon of oil. And this is, you really don't need to measure it. Olive oil, if you want to do it tastier. Okay. And then you have an option. If you already bought the tahini for the hummus next week, then put 1 tablespoon of tahini inside the mix. If you didn't, then put another 1 tablespoon of oil. So 2 tablespoons of fattening that can be either olive oil or other oils, and tahini, with or without the tahini. It's up to you. But if you don't use the tahini, so why do we use tahini anyway? We use tahini because it gives you this amazing, delicious sesame flavor. It gives you the delicious sesame flavor that we like, and the fattening together. But if you don't, then what you do, you just put olive oil, 2 tablespoons, and you sprinkle a little bit of sesame, maybe a tablespoon of sesame, but not in the chopping part, later. Now to this, we add 1 medium-sized onion. And to get an idea how much does it weigh, because again, it's not really a science. So we're going to do 1 second. I'm supposed to be prepared for everything. I really try. So we do this, we pair it, we put this in, and this is 156 grams, which is actually 7 ounces or so. You get the idea. So it's maybe half of a large onion. See, look how all of this is going to make everything so juicy, because that's what it is. Now, for those who like jalapeno, to give it a little bit of a zest, only half. And if you don't like it too spicy, just remove the seeds. Really, it will just give you a nice thing. But that's it. So we put that one. Those who like garlic, and even those who don't, put the garlic. It's good. 3 cloves of garlic. And if you put 4, nothing happens. To that, yeah, we are going to mix the whole thing. We're going to put it like that. And this in 4, 3. You know what? I'll give it like a pulse for a second. And once everything catches, you're going to hit it. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to be inside this thing now. Okay, you see, these guys, they don't like to be chopped. So we're going to do small chops. We can take this guy, put everything in. Yeah, and I just want to show you that this one, look how lucky this guy is, of all of them. So you know what? Yeah, let's let him chop. Put it back. Yeah, we got it. And we want to puree. We want to puree, and it doesn't require a lot of time to puree. Okay, I'm taking another last dip, so we don't have anything on the sides. And we close it, put it another one. One way in the meantime. And yeah, wow, we were. Now, look at this color. See, that's the color that we want. This greeny mixture. And what we're going to do now.
We do have one question.
Yes.
Will it change the flavor if you use red onions? Carol wants to know.
Well, red onion, no, it's fine. It's sweeter, it will be very nice. Any onion will work, you know. This is a sweet white onion, I think. So it's also nice, but any onion will work. So, you know, I'll take this guy out. We don't want to cook that. And I'm going to put the whole thing here, like this. There is a hole here, we don't want anything inside. And we're going to, if you look at the mixture, you'll see it's almost half and half. You see that? It's not half, it's more chickpeas than the sauce, the wet, let's call it the wet. But it's not exactly. Now, on top of that, I want to add a few very important things. First of all, baking soda. The baking soda actually is going to make it leaven a little bit. Now, we obviously, for that, we don't use yeast because yeast is a long process and this is nothing to do with it. We don't have gluten, it won't work. But baking soda, well, the difference between baking soda and baking powder is baking powder also have something, an acid to control the pH. We're going to do this with the pita, add it to the yeast. But with this, baking soda is fine. So we add the baking soda.
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon. This one, you have to measure precisely. And the reason, as I'm sure all of you know, when you cook, you need a recipe. When you bake, you need a formula. But not on everything that you put in the baking, but those things that are science, like baking powder, baking soda, they have to be precise. With this, you don't have to be precise. So this is cumin and this is salt. So I put 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt. If you like more cumin, you can put more cumin. If you like more salt, you can make it saltier, but I don't think you need it. This is what you want. Everything is mixed here. And after all of this is mixed, we are going to mix it inside like that. Look at that. I wish you could smell it. Oh, do you smell that, Adas?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, look at that. Now, you want to mix it thoroughly, completely thoroughly, so it becomes... Now, if you look at the consistency of what I have here, it's nice. You don't see any water, any residual water of any kind. And I can tell you, you cannot feel it, but I feel it. It's very soft. The thing is that you want it to be as soft as possible, but it will hold its shape. So let's say you make a ball, You put the ball as soft as possible it should be, but it should not like crash. So this is what you want. And you know what? When I'm touching it, it's just perfect. You see? It's fluffy. It's like a cotton candy by the weight and by this. And you see, I'm making a ball. Look how nice it stays. And now we are ready to make them. So there are a few methods. We are not going to fry. If you want to fry it, it will be maybe the best. But if you want it quick and you want to make just few, you can make it on the skillet. Let's make it on the skillet. So we have to heat it first, but never mind. We put it on 6. Okay, so you know what? We have to wait anyway. So we'll put some oil here, but you don't need much. You don't even need to put it all because this is a non-stick. But you know what? Let's put it here. In the meantime, we're going to create some balls here. There are 2 ways to do it. First of all, we want to oil the surface. So you have to.
The olive oil.
The olive oil. Now you have to remember that this mixture that we just made contains maybe 1% fat. Okay, so because in chickpeas I think it's 1.4%. It's like no fat. So you have to bring it some fat, and good fat is healthy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spritz a little bit here like that, and then I'm going to we're going to take this, and I'm going to brush it. You know, so you have even though I'm not afraid that it will stick to the baking pan, but we want it to be a little oily so it will have better taste. And this is nothing compared to when you make, when you fry it. So this is really nothing compared to frying. And we take this, and now we make balls. There are 2 ways of making balls. One way is using a scoop for falafel. And originally we thought not to do it, but just before I started, I looked and I saw that they sell it on Amazon for $6, $7. So it's not expensive, but since I cannot find it, we will not use it. Let's see, maybe with this one? Unless you think we can
That's for cookie.
Yeah, let's try this. This was never intended for.
Yeah, it's too small.
Let's see. I don't care. Okay, so I take it like this, and I put it like this here. Doesn't do any good. So here is the falafel that I make. So I'm going to make it with my hand. Better to have wet hand. Look, I made like a small ball like that. This is, you can make them round or you can make them thin. If you want it quick, then you make it thin. This is a little bit too thin, make it a little bit bigger, but you make them round, but not completely round. I will make it like that. See, like a cookie. And I put it like this in the center and make another one. Yep. Right?
Maybe you want to wet your head?
Yes, I will. Yeah, good idea. Okay, so here it is. You don't have to be precise. You don't have to be precisely circle. You don't have to, but this is what you want. You have to have a little bit of thickness. Okay. And this is going to go well. And now I'm going to make, is it spending money?
No. That's what
see. Oh, not run away. 1 second, my friends. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put them here. So how much we want? We want maybe, let's make it a little bit less than a ping pong ball, like a ping pong ball. So you see, you make a ball like that. You can either put the ball like this, or you can, you know, just make it a little bit like this. And I think it's better like that, if you ask me. I'm going to wet my hands. 1 second. So as I said, it's good to wet your hands so it's easier to work with. And as you see, they hold their shapes very well. And we're going to make those. So we put it like this. That's another one. And we make another one like this. They don't have to be exactly precise. They need to be approximately the same size, which I didn't make because you want them all to be ready at the same time. Like that. Now, in the meantime, while I do this, I can see already that the falafel in the skillet are starting to get a little bit ready on the bottom, if you can tell. So soon I'm going to take a spatula and I'm going to reverse them. So, see, they're nice. This is the falafel. Again, if you want it traditional look, then if you like traditional look, then you can use, you can make them balls. It's up to you.
We have a
So
question.
Yep.
In the ingredients list, it mentioned bread. Was that
Yes. Right. So
Yeah.
we are not going to use the bread. The reason for the bread, by the original recipe, was to make it again softer and friendlier, but it didn't have any benefit when you bake it. So if you do it this way, less ingredients, but different ratio between the hard stuff, the thing that's stuck in the throat, to the things that are friendly and they are mellow. So this is what you do. I will not use the bread. You can if you want to add it, but it won't add any benefit to the whole thing. Now, another benefit of not making them completely round is that they will get better color because it will have more consistency.
If you were going to, if someone wanted to fry them, like deep fry them, you would go with the ingredients and the ratios in the recipe list that we sent out.
I would still go with this 100 times much better. Nothing to compare. Nothing to compare. Because, but you can use the other recipe will work, especially if you fry it. I don't want to say especially if you fry it, because if you don't fry it, I cannot give you any guarantee that it will work. Actually, I can almost give you a guarantee that you will not like it very much, unless you add a lot of oil.
And actually,
but this one.
Sorry. Dean has a good question. Have you ever tried to cook it in an air fryer?
No, but it will work beautifully in an air fryer. I have no doubt that it will work beautifully in an air fryer. So we see we're getting there. Here you can actually throw it from hand to a hand. If one wants, you can make a hole, put something in it, and close. You can do this, you see. So to get if you want a round one, you just do this. And then you get the rounder one. If you want to stick something in, you can stick and close it, but it's too much. We do it this way. And believe it or not, there is a version of falafel that is filled with something inside, usually either meat or other vegetables, and they call it falafel mahshi. Mahshi in Arabic means stuffed. Thank you, Adas. Rest assured, whenever I'm stuck, Adas is going for the rescue and make everything right. Okie dokie. So here is the falafel. We preheated the oven to 400 degrees. I should have said it when I just started, and I didn't, and it's not right. But right, so I'm going to gently fry them. No. See, this one I fried a little earlier, so it broke. I flipped it too early. You want to give it a shake. Now, remember that we need to add a little bit of fat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit fat here, or olive oil, which is very healthy, no more than this. And I'm going to brush them. You want to be nice because they're supposed to be very soft, so they're going to break.
Be generous with the olive oil.
Be generous. Even if you're not generous, it will be nice, but you can be generous because the total percentage of oil or fat in this falafel will be almost minuscule, no matter how, really. Because the total thing here is, I would say, 2 pounds or more, and the amount of oil that we put is maybe 2 ounces or, yeah. Good. And that's it. So you see how it looks, how green they are. Now I'm telling you, if I touch one, I forgot to put one on one. Yeah. Now I just want to show you that look how soft it is. If I touch it, it's very, very soft, but it will hold the shape. The softness of this will make it so fluffy, and it will just run in your mouth, almost like a cotton candy, from my experience, just like baking. No need for frying. And we put it in for, I would say, we will check it in 15 minutes. Am I right or am I right? 20. But it doesn't hurt to check earlier.
Yeah.
But this guy is almost ready. That's what I said. If you do it on a skillet, it's quicker. See? Look at the color. Yeah. And we put it like this. Now, if you put a ball, it will be there. Now, for those of you who freak out now and says, hey, this doesn't look like a falafel, I will tell you that if it was round and if it was fried, the whole thing, it would have looked like falafel. But the look is really completely not important. The important thing is the taste. I'm going to taste a piece and tell you if it's ready even. Let's see.
Can't burn your tongue. It's, yeah.
But it's not ready yet. A little longer. So,
You
very
said
quickly. Yeah, questions?
you're going to check the oven in about 20 minutes, you said, correct?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Yeah. And you want to flip it after 10 minutes.
And that's what did you say?
Okay. You put it in the oven for 20 minutes, but you want to flip them after 10 minutes. So they will get the color from both.
Right.
On both
So
sides.
this is important thing. We have to remember, we want to flip it after 10 minutes or so. So it will be brown nicely on both sides. But again, it not necessarily it will be, especially if you make it like a shape of a mini hamburger. If you make a round one, it will be less even. All the, as a matter of fact, those that you saw, I actually gave it a little bit with the broil. Okay. Now, yeah, I think this, what I'm going to do with this guy, I'm going to lower it a little bit and let it sit. But actually, this one, you see, it holds, it's ready. See, it holds its shape, nothing move. This guy, even better.
So
Okay.
there was a question. So set the oven for 400 degrees.
Yes, 400 degrees. 400 degrees, the oven, but preheat.
Preheat it, yeah.
Good. So now we're ready to make the pita. Now let me tell you a few things about the pita. When you buy a pita in America, almost anywhere that you buy in the supermarket, the pita is thin, it's dry, it feels like it's not fresh, even though it may be very fresh. And the reason for this is the amount of liquid and moisture they use when they make the dough. So the harder the dough is when you work with it, you will get a product that lasts for longer, like a matzah is the ultimate thing, it holds forever. But it's not as friendly in the mouth as a pita like this. You can tell this is much thicker. But that doesn't mean that has more flour in it, because again, this is tough, but it's much tastier. And one of the things that I remember at Daniel's bar mitzvah here in Pinebrook, we wanted to buy pitas. So I went to a Syrian bakery and I told them, look, I know the pitas that I can find anywhere, even the pita that you sell in your bakery, and it's nothing like the pita that I had in Israel. It is thicker and richer and softer and melts in your mouth. So they said, we can do this. When you pay another 10 cents a pita, and we'll make you whatever you want. So I asked him, so what do you do to make it that fluffy? So I said, we just add a little bit more water. So it's wetter and it leavens in a better way. So that's the way to do it if you want to get it at the maximum. So it's a little bit, maybe a little bit more tricky to get the feel, but I'll show you. So what do we need to do? Yeah. First of all, we need flour. And the flour is here. So there are two ways of making it. Obviously, we make it in a KitchenAid, and you have the book, and it's going to make it in 1 minute. Or if you want, you can make it by hand, and it takes few minutes. But what you need to get all the gluten network to work very well. So let's do it in the mixer. Michelle, what do you think? We have time, no? We'll do it in the mixer.
I mean, you know what? Do people want to see it hand mixed or in the mix?
Handmade? Let's make it handmade. So we need we have a bowl. Okay. So inside the bowl, we put 2.5 cups of flour. Where is the measuring cup? 1 second, we forgot that. That's it. 1.5 cups. So we want 2.5 cups of flour. Before anybody asks which flour, what flour, regular all-purpose flour. So 2.5 cups, and you see this guy? It's off. It's ready. Right. So okay. Let me show. When you measure, by the way, cups is never as precise as by weight, especially if you kvetch it when you put it together and you compress it, then you have much more. So you want to make it as airy as possible when you measure a cup. See, as airy. If you sift it, it's even better. So we said 2.5 cups. You know what? Let's measure and see if it's really 500 grams, 2.5 cups. Okay, so let's make a grid. We're putting like this. I can show here. There, this is ounces. We don't want ounces. We want grams. So 1 cup, 149, 2.5 cups. So this is the other cup. Here you have 284 grams and a half. Do you believe it? We're 100 grams short.
I think it's quarter maybe.
You know what? We'll go with the cups because everyone is going to work with the cup. If the worst case scenario, we will just put less water. That's the same thing. So we have the flour. Then we have to add water. So the idea for 2.5 cups / 500 grams is 300 ml water. But remember, it was not exactly. So what we want to do, we want to add less and then see what happens. We want to use warmer water. So this was sitting a little bit for a long time. So we want yeah. Never mind. 300 ml, it's still cold. But we don't care, we'll give it more time. It will be ready. Where is the meal? The meal is here. Okay. That's a little bit, that's 300 ml of water. Before that, so you're adding this, but I'm not going to add the whole thing. I'm going to put this. That's it. I can always add more. Always add more. To that, I'm going to add the dry yeast, and the dry yeast is 1.5 teaspoons. That it looks a lot, but actually it's like 7 grams, 2.5. We put it like this, and 1.5 teaspoon of dry yeast. We said 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and this is the baking powder, ½ teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, ½ teaspoon of baking powder, all of this going here. And now you're going to mix it. I never mix with the gloves, so
Maybe
I don't
you
know.
want to you want
What?
falafel on your gloves, but it doesn't matter.
That's fine. We like falafel.
Yeah.
So already I can see, you see when I mix it, that it's a little bit on the dry side. So we definitely want to add a little bit more water. So we will add a little bit more water. Now, some of you may ask, those who baked before, and say, hey, you use yeast. Why do you use the baking powder? I mean, if you use yeast, why do you need the baking powder? So for that, we have to understand, why do we need yeast at all? So the yeast is a creature. That creature loves carbohydrates, and he loves, more than anything, sugar. So when yeast is introduced with sugar or any carbohydrate and a little bit of moisture, then it starts to eat it like crazy. What happened to the yeast when it eats like crazy? They start to fart. Sorry for that word, but they fart carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is actually like air, and it wants to inflate things. But you have to have a structure that will accept it and let it inflate it. So you need the gluten. In order to use yeast, usually you have to use either gluten if you're using regular gluten bread, or you need xanthan gum if you use a gluten-free. But why do you need it? The gluten is like a network of rubber balloons. And these rubber balloons will trap the gas that the yeast releases, okay? And then it inflates. Now, what is the major difference between yeast and baking powder? So again, baking powder and baking soda. Baking soda is baking soda, and the baking powder is baking soda with acid. What the acid does, the acid controls the pH. Now, if you look at this.
We have a quick question. Can I interrupt for a sec?
Yeah, anytime.
So someone was just confirming how much water. So you measured a cup and a quarter in there, and then you're kind of.
Check the falafel. Yeah, I measured a cup and a quarter. Yeah.
So you just want to.
I measured 300 mils. So 300 mils. 1 second. 300 mils. That means in cups. Let me see. In cups, 3.5 mil. 300 is 1 1/4.
Yeah.
That's what you said, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 1 1/4. Now, using the whole 1 1/4, we got a dough that's very sticky, and very soft, but that's what we want. Now, and I'll tell you this, I'm sorry for the mess. The way to do it is not really in a bowl. The way to make it really is to make a mess, if we do it like that. Okay, so if you want to do it the right way, we put it on this, otherwise it sticks. And especially when I have gloves, it's really not the idea.
Okay, if you have falafel in the oven, you may want to check them and flip them over if you need.
This is what you do. You pound on it, you heat it. This is wonderful for anger management. You hit it, you pound it, and it's a lot of fun. You have to stretch it. You have to stretch it all the time to create this gluten network. You do it like this, and like this, and like this. You work with it until a few minutes, actually, and it will be ready. Okay? Now I'm doing exactly like what the mixer does. I'm coming from here and from here. I just need to use a little bit more flour so it won't stick to me. And you see, until it will be stretchy. Okay, like that. We go from here to it. This is wonderful as an exercise. And it will get the same result like the mixer. The only thing is that you see, you don't do it with gloves because they stick to my gloves, but you get the idea that it becomes more and more like rubber. And it has to be soft. Again, if you make it and it's too hard of a dough, the final result will be a drier pita that will hold a little longer maybe, but will not be at all as good. Now, why do we use the baking powder? If you're using yeast, it should work. As a matter of fact, sometimes we don't use yeast at all. We use the baking powder. The thing is that their way is very different. They both act very, very different. The baking powder is a fast acting. That means if you make like a mixed cake or let's say, what's the name? That's what the name of the sponge cupcakes, you need the baking powder. It's quick, you make it and you put it immediately. When you use yeast takes its time, but it goes bigger and it goes nicer and fluffier, especially with things that have, but only with things that have this bonding agent like the gluten or the xanthan gum with the gluten-free. So actually, you can think about it like the turtle and the rabbit in the race. The turtle gets there, it takes longer time, but he makes it right. The rabbit, and this is the baking powder. So again, why do we use both of them? Well, the thing is that actually the baking powder, if you use it with the yeast, because it's fast acting, it's going to exhaust its resources way before even the yeast started, so it doesn't add anything. But remember that I said before, the baking powder has also acid in it compared to the baking soda. And this acid, sometimes in some baked good, and maybe this is the secret in this pita recipe, that creates a better product at the end. Probably more of the color of the dough. But if you look at it, come closer. So you see, it's soft, it's nice. It sticks to my hand because I have gloves. If I didn't have gloves, it will be there. But you want it sticky, by the way. It's very important. Adas, can you touch it with your fingers? Okay. Just touch it and tell me how sticky it is.
Yeah.
Sticky, but it doesn't, you see, but it holds the shape. Okay? Now what you do with that, you want to leaven it. So in order to leaven it, you always have to cover it wherever you put it, otherwise it will dry out. So you can throw it right here. And the best control place for temperature is actually the microwave, but you don't turn it on. What you do, you take a little bit of water, maybe.
Yes, maybe they want to freeze it and keep it for next week, so right. they will do it next week.
No, but they will leaven it. They can leaven it and freeze it. Better not? Okay. So, when time comes, you can put it here, put it for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, the steam from the water inside that cup will warm that microwave, okay, to a nice friendly temperature of maybe 80 degrees. That's very friendly for the yeast. And then you take the water out and you put the dough inside for 2 hours. But we're not going to do it now. So when you're going to look at the Zoom, if you are going to make it next week before the class, you want to do it, I would say like 2 hours before this. Let's check the falafel.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, but they're not, they need more time.
Yeah, I need to flip them.
We have to flip them. Wow, yeah, right. Just flew. Okay, so that's flip. Be careful on your hands. Very careful. Look, they even expanded a little bit. You see how they expanded? Now, they are so soft and they are so healthy. You saw the ingredient that I put inside this thing, and every single thing is good. Good to very good.
Vegetarian, gluten-free.
Yeah, broken. Okay, very good.
Two more. Yeah.
And we want to give it a little bit more, and the other time. Okie dokie. Like this. Where were we? Okay. So you're going to make this dough. So this Zoom will probably be on, there will be a link to watch this thing. So you watch this and do it like two hours before the next class, like 3 hours. So you make the dough exactly with this description. And again, remember, it has to be soft, but not hard. Well, obviously soft is not hard. And you put it into the bowl, put it in the microwave without heat. Obviously, you don't put the microwave on, just because it's small and it can contain the temperature. You put it for 2 hours, let's say 2 hours, and take it out at 6 when we are going to make it. And then I'll teach you how to make the pita. It's going to be a piece of cake because just to make the shape, wait a few minutes, put it in the oven, or you can make a pita on the skillet exactly like what we did. And you can put the dough directly without oil on it, without flour, anything on the skillet. And in 3-4 minutes, you're going to have a big, nice, fat pita.
We have some questions? Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready for all the questions because we're done.
Okay, so one question is, how many pitas will that recipe of dough make?
I would say between 5 and 6. When we talk about next week, we'll talk about sizes. So you can, okay, so this pita is 100 grams or something like that. This is 100 gram pita or so. 130 gram, 120, this pita, okay? But you see, you see the packet, how nice, it's perfect. It will hold and it has a shape. But the only thing is just to follow the directions, be patient, and the most important thing, enjoy doing this, because that's the purpose of all this. Next question, I hope you have many more.
It's another question about freezing it. So one doesn't have time to make it on Thursday before class, you can make it and then you freeze it before you let it rise, and then you have to take it out and defrost it. Like, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so there are two methods. As you buy sometime dough for pizza in the supermarket and it's frozen, and then you can do it. If you make it leaven and then freeze it, it will work very well. The only thing will be that if it will over leaven a little bit, it will have a little bit of sourdough fragrance and a little bit of flavor. Actually, if you smell dough that's set a little, like few hours more than it should have been, you could swear, and you close your eyes, you could swear that you smell beer, because it smells exactly like beer. But the taste, so I like the taste of a little bit sourness, and that doesn't like it. So if you don't want to take any risk, then if you made it now, you can freeze it as it is, and take it out in the morning, Adas?
Yeah, it needs to return to room temperature.
So I would take it the day before, put it in the refrigerator, let it defrost in the morning, and then bring it to room temperature. But then again, it still have to make a thing of leavening.
Yeah. You can also keep it in the fridge for 2 days.
But then you'll have the beer
no.
if they didn't with the yeast.
No, I do. I keep pizza dough.
Nothing. I'll tell you this for sure. It will not be bad at all. Either it will have a little bit of this sourness, which I personally like, or not. But the important thing that you do have to remember, it does have to take the time at like 80 degrees or 75 degrees Fahrenheit to leaven for 2 hours. Either you do this and then freeze, or you can freeze as is, this thing. It has to be completely and hermetically sealed with the nylon sarin wrap, and freeze it, and then thaw it, and then let it to get to room temperature. Put it for an hour eventually it will leaven, you'll see. But when you put it in the bowl, make sure you cover it. Because if you don't cover it, it will dry out. Actually, even now, a little bit. But look how nice, but just giving it a little bit of time. Look how nice it opens. You can use this to make a pizza at this moment if you want. Look, the gluten holds its shape. I mean, for a while, but you see, and this is not even a gluten. This is an all-purpose. It's not even enriched.
So the question was, what do we do with the pita now? So I think you answered, you could either freeze it as it is now or let it leaven and then freeze it if you want to wait to bake it next week for the class, correct?
Yes. I would say this. Those who didn't make the dough now, make it on next week. Those who made the dough now, what's the time now? 6:51? Even if you close it, sarin wrap it, put it, as I said, in a warm, like the microwave after you heat it a little bit. Let it rest for an hour and 2 hours. And if you put this, I think in an oven, you'll have a bread. Am I right or am I right with us?
Yeah.
You should have a bread. But you want that? No, it doesn't have oil, so it will be more like a baguette and not like a bread, because this thing doesn't have any oil in it, and that's the French bread. But you can either, as I said, either, and the best thing that I can suggest to you, if you're not sure, each and every one of you have my phone number. Call me. I would gladly talk to you and explain and give you ideas or what exactly you want to do. But you do want to do it right, and you want it to leaven to the maximum.
Maybe you want to check the falafel.
This is
no,
look at that.
There's a question about the microwave, and I think that they asked what level, but the key with the microwave is you're not going to actually cook it in the microwave.
No, absolutely. Do not cook in the microwave. What I said, and I will emphasize it again, we just want to warm the oven, the microwave up. And if we want to warm the microwave up, we just put 2 or 3 ounces of water, a little bit water in a cup, and heat the microwave with the water, put the water in, put it for a minute. In this minute, these water are going to heat up, molecules are going to jump out, and it's going to make after you turn it off, it will make it hot and humid. Not very hot, but hot and humid. this is the best environment for this yeast to grow and to inflate all those tiny balloons, rubber balloons network that from the gluten. See, it's so, I would say, yeah, see, this is very pliable. It's supposed to be the final result, very pliable. And again, if you just finish it and it's not sticky at all, it's too dry. It has to be sticky. After a while, you see, it doesn't even stick now anymore to my gloves that were extremely sticky. Any more questions?
Yes, wait, let's see. What temperature do you bake the pita, and do you coat the pita with oil when baking it?
Okay, so with this we're going to do next week. I don't mind quickly show how to do this part if anybody wants to do it tonight. I can quickly show how to do this part and the heat and everything, and we can repeat it next week. If anybody wants to do it ahead of time, look at the Zoom. Should we?
It seems like I think maybe some people want to know how to cook it tonight, and maybe they'll make it again next week.
Very good. This is very easy. So, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, but we have to preheat the oven to, yeah.
So, those who want to make this pita tonight, very easy, you make it tonight. So, how do we do it? First of all, as I said, put it in 2 hours in an 80 degrees environment, 75 degrees environment, not oven. This is going to be at least double the size after you do that. So you take it out. You want to make, I would say, 130 grams or
Maybe 100.
100 is small. Yeah, make 100. So we measure it. We put
Tell them also in ounces. They don't do grams.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So they're like to do 4 ounces. 4 ounces of this. But this weighs almost like 2 pitas like this. Look how much it's leavened. So from this, I could make 2 pitas bigger than this. So after you cut a piece, you make a ball. It doesn't matter how. I make a ball like this. I just use my fingers inside and I stretch it and I make a ball. And you have a ball like this. If you want to make a different ball, if you want to play like this, it's very easy. We all did it in nursery school to play with Play-Doh, and you can make a ball. So we make balls. We don't use, we prefer not to overwhelm it with flour, otherwise, again, it will be too dry. So my mistake that I've done this. Now, after this is ready, we make the balls and we put them under a towel and we cover. If this is the towel, we put it like this, we make a ball, we put it like this. We cut a piece and make a ball and we put it underneath. Once we are done, we have to let it sit and rest. Yeast, remember the turtle? Takes its time, it's not in a rush, it wants to do its thing. Whenever you get stuck in anything when you make a dough, you try to stretch it and it doesn't go, it's stubborn, put it aside, cover it with the towel, let it rest for a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, it will be much friendlier. Actually, you could see while I finished the dough, like in a few minutes, it was very sticky prior. I didn't do anything to it, and look how it feels. So, and you play with it, again, to activate the gluten, you want to activate it. So, after we wait a few minutes, we have this ball, and we put a little bit flour. I really apologize for the mess. And we want to roll it. So we need, I'm going to use it. This I don't know if they sell it here. I bought it in Israel 25 years ago. So we want to make a ball. We want to make a round thing. So it doesn't have to be perfect at all. And even if you make perfect round, in the oven it may change. So you see, you open it like this. You can open it with your finger. Don't be afraid. This is one of the funnest and most pleasurable things to play with dough. I'm not enjoying it now because I'm using gloves, but normally just touching a dough is amazing. Very sensual and very nice. So we have a round pita, but this is too small, too thick. We want to expand it a little bit, spread it, make a round thing like this. And this is our pita. It's supposed to be this thickness, approximately. You want the edges definitely not be thinner because for the pocket. So I'm not telling you like a pizza that they make it thicker on the side. At least make it either even or a little bit thicker on the sides, but not more. And after we make pita, we make the shape, we put it underneath. But, as Adas said before we even do this, we have to have the hottest, absolute hottest oven that we can have. Every oven is different. Our oven goes maximum 525 degrees, which is actually very hot. Ideally, in the bakery, they have 600-700 degrees, even 800 degrees. Huh?
You want to check
Yeah.
the, yeah.
I think, yeah, already long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, we don't want to burn them.
Here they are. Yes, that's a very important note. We don't want to overdo them. I will tell you, I can tell immediately how good it is because it is very light. The fact that it's light means that it's going to crumble in our mouth like nothing. It's really very, very soft. Very, very good. If you don't trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is eating?
Okay. After this punishment, we're going to.
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
Slowly. One second, we are lost a little bit. It's going to be okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I know. It's we are using a gimbal, and the gimbal, what it does, it sometimes. So
I know you burn your mouth.
Very critical thing in order to make any like even a pizza, you know, it has to be very, very hot. If it's not hot enough, then
We're going to do the baking in detail next week, but for this week, if someone wanted to bake it,
if you want to bake it, you have to preheat the oven to the absolute maximum that you have. I would say 525. But when you heat it, you have to heat it with the tray inside because the tray has to be very, very, very hot. If you have a pizza stone, a stone, then it will be even better. But you can use even the aluminum tray as long as you heat it very, very well. And if you heat it very well, you don't need to put anything. You don't put a baking sheet. You don't put oil in it. You don't put flour even. It will not stick. So after this is hot, I would say, as I said, 15-20 minutes with the tray, you take the pita one by one. You take the pita, you open the tray, you open this, you pull this out with the tray, give it another small stretch like that, see, and you throw it on the here, and you can put like 3 here, right? Adas.
Yeah.
Let's see, here it does. Like that. Good. So those of you who are going to make the pita tonight, remember, let it leaven for 2 hours, take it out, cut it to the size that you want, and make balls. You can make the balls like this and cover with a towel for a few minutes. After you cover it with a few minutes, you take one by one and you just stretch them. They will not tear apart easily. This is going to stretch very, very nicely. Look, this is like a pizza dough. So you're going to stretch it, but not too big. Remember, because you want to have the pocket. And then, once this is ready, you open the door and put them, I would say 5 minutes, it's done, right? 5, 6, even 4 minutes. That depends on your oven. But you don't need to put oil, you don't need to put anything, and everything will be ready. Anybody that is going to make it tonight has a question about this specific, or you can call me later. I answer phones until 1 a.m.
I don't see any more questions coming in. If I can unmute everyone if people want to ask you a question, but I think this was
Sure. Let's do this. So you can watch both of us. Second. Can you see me, Anadas?
Yes.
Hey guys.
Okay. We are ready for the questions.
Cantor, can you hear me?
I hear you very, very well. How are you, Stephanie? I'm kidding. I know.
Cantor, look, I don't understand. I mean, I tried to make falafel and look what came out here.
Cannot see it. Let's see. I didn't see.
Okay.
Can you see that?
You see that, Abbas?
No, I
Wait.
just see
Wait,
many.
if you want, I can spotlight. Bob, do you mind if I
Yeah,
spotlight?
please.
No.
Okay, wait, I'm looking for you. Wait one sec.
Let's see.
Here, wait, I got you. One sec.
Michelle.
That's great. That can happen.
What
That
came
can
out? I don't
happen.
understand.
That can happen.
But my glass, yeah. But these are our falafel. We didn't have parsley.
You don't have right. So it's good. So what did you put right? So you
We
put
had parsley flakes.
Parsley flakes.
Parsley flakes.
That's good.
Yeah,
too.
that's good too.
Yes, they're really good.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Very
Good to
good.
hear.
Now,
Yeah.
if you will feel,
Roberta, did you make it?
Roberta, if you feel,
I
If
was
you can see-
intending to, and they didn't finish the food processor before, so he had to do it.
right, now,
But I
as
read
I
a
said, if you're using dry flakes or if you didn't use an ingredient and you feel that it's too hard, too dry, then instead of the parsley, you can add more onion because you do need the fluffiness.
Push it a little closer.
Any other questions?
Washed one? I want to say.
Wait,
Cantor.
we are going, listen, we're going to send again the precise recipe for the falafel, this falafel that is in the oven, because you want to have it. So we will write Michelle, you let me, we'll send it
I'm
to
gonna,
you.
yeah, and I'm gonna
Or
send
we
the,
will put it in the Zoom that we will include. But you want to use this falafel recipe, trust me.
I will send the recipe and I'll send the link for this video, so if people want to revisit and look at you making it too, they can do that.
Oh,
Right.
great.
And if you tried it, and it didn't go as well as you hoped for, talk to me and I will figure out with you how to make it right. Don't give up.
Many, I missed it. What temperature and how long for the pita?
Yeah, pita, before you put it in the oven, you have to heat it for the maximum that your oven will agree. 2 hours is 525, and you have to preheat it for 20 minutes at least with the tray. So the tray has to be as hot as possibly can be, because you want a very fast action. Once the yeast finishes thing, you want to quickly, otherwise you won't get the pocket.
Okay, 550, okay.
Any other questions, my friends?
Yes, Cantor. Cantor,
Yes.
can I put a candle in that for my cake instead?
Happy
Absolutely,
birthday, Richard.
absolutely.
Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
and just happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Richard, aka Ruben. Happy birthday to you. Anybody else celebrates a birthday?
Happy birthday, Richard.
יום הולדת שמח.
Happy birthday, Rick.
Happy birthday.
Thanks
for doing this for Richard's birthday.
Wonderful. And I want you to know the lines are open. If you have any questions, call us anytime.
Penny,
Yes.
did you say that when you put it in the oven, the bread will be 5 minutes?
The pita
The pita.
could be, depending on the, look, if you had a hotter oven, it will be even 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But you see, you look at it after 4 minutes and you
All right.
should see the color.
Okay.
No, you're supposed to kind of look like that. If
Right.
not, you wait longer.
Okay, fine.
Okay? But
Yep.
remember, if you hold the dough, and you see that it's hard or dry, or you don't feel that it's like fluffy, then let it sit a little bit longer, cover it until it works. A critical thing for those who, if you didn't use hot water for the yeast, then you have to wait much longer, maybe until the morning. I don't remember if I mentioned when I did it, to use hot water.
Hot or warm?
Warm.
Okay.
Once you mix it even if it's a little hotter, once you mix it with the dough, the temperature drops.
Okay.
Manny, does it come out sliced?
A what?
Does it come out sliced?
With broccoli.
What slice?
The falafel,
Yes.
does it come out sliced?
They come out. I hear the word slice, but I don't understand. What does it mean?
You know, like, never mind, I was joking.
Right. Okay. But remember, look at this falafel. They are flatter. They will work well in the pita and very unified. You could, as I said to you, easily make it a ball and you'll have a ball. But it will be more difficult to get this finish with this. But look how nice it breaks. It really breaks very easily, and it.
These are tartar, they're not as sweet.
Yummy.
Don't overcook it. This is perfect, but don't overcook it.
Nice job, thank you.
Thank you.
And by the way,
Call me if you have questions.
Okay.
Don't want to use really hot water because you're going to kill the yeast.
No, not hot. We are going to.
Don't do that.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank Michelle. Nothing would happen without Michelle. She got it to you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yay.
I don't have anything here if it wasn't for Adas, that she's the brain behind everything that I do. So,
Yay.
I want to thank Adas. I want people to see Adas. Yeah? And she's everything behind it.
I miss seeing you, Hadass.
Exactly.
Thank you to both of you. And
Thank you. And I hope it will be successful. Again, this is more complicated than shakshuka or what, but it's not difficult at all. If something doesn't go, I'll fix it for you.
And what's great is we have two parts.
Or
so
your money back.
Next week, people can work. We have 2 parts, so people can work on it this week. And next week, we're going to come together with the whole dinner with the falafel and the pita.
So
Very quick.
yeast.
It's easily swallowable. Next week, we are going to do some hummus, tahini, everything that complements the falafel. And if people will have questions about the falafel that we make, and we will do the pita too. So I will make the
Let's
pita
send
with
an
you.
email out with some more information too that people will help people too, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
God, I have.
Well, that's the longest class we've ever made. I hope it wasn't too much or too boring. But
This was great. It's a great activity.
please, if you have any ideas to improve things that we do, this is a good criticism, building criticism. We want to hear that. Right? That's why I'm asking my brother to be, because he doesn't have any problem slaughtering me if he feels that he needs, and I accept.
Sounds good.